Good evening, everybody. This is Jose Negron, and welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, first of all, for the benefit of those who are not familiar with my channel or are watching this for the first time, um, the purpose of my channel is to discuss everyday problems and come with sensible solutions. Unfortunately, nowadays, people are not seeking sensible solutions to everyday problems. Henceforth, it is called uncommon sense. I just want to let everybody know that I am currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter through Periscope. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to drop the link so anyone can join. Okay. Now, before I get into tonight's topic, I believe look, what's going to happen is we're going to go live every Tuesday night, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Good evening, Denise.
Hi, Jose. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Before you continue, I'm going to follow the example of my cyber daughter, and I'm going to read my disclaimer, which will be said every time guests appear, which are the following: the views of the guests who appear on this channel are not necessarily the views of the host nor this channel. Any attempt to copy material without the consent of the host, Jose Negron, or the channel, Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image on this channel. Some of the views of which the guests may hold may be offensive to some viewers. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel. So, I mean, look, you know me by now, daughter. I
Yeah,
believe in keeping it real.
yeah. It has to be like that. You and
Yes.
me both know it has to be like that.
Okay.
Because we have, we're fighting two pandemics, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
so one is easier than the other.
Yes. Now, the topic for tonight is who are the mentally and intellectually challenged? Now, this is a term that I've been using with quite regularity. Let me explain what is the meaning behind that term. It is my umbrella term for the slow taps, the Hispano taps, the correct taps, the vest taps, the state taps, and all the other group taps. And so that's why I gave an umbrella term, the mentally and intellectually challenged. Because if you notice, Denise, they all share common traits. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some to like a higher degree and whatnot, but to be honest with you, there is a lot of similarities. And one of those things is that it's funny that you say mentally and intellectually challenged because unfortunately it is true.
Okay. First of all, maybe make myself perfectly clear. I am not here to attack anyone. Okay. So this is going to be like an analytical review. So, and of course, saying that someone is going to get upset.
Absolutely. You know how the internet acts. You
Yes,
know, they get offended by everything. And if you don't get offended, they'll find a way to get offended.
that is that is so true. Good evening, Mother Day Night. Yes, let's get those likes up, please, people. It doesn't hurt you to like and hit the bell notification, and by all means, please subscribe. Good evening, Christina. As always, a pleasure to see you in the chat. I hope you're feeling better today. Um, Now, I did do a little bit of research regarding the mix, as I like to call them. Okay. And as I stated before, they do share some similarities. One moment. Okay.
Hi, Christina. How
Okay.
are you?
First of all, they tend to be narrow minded. And I like to give definitions. Okay. Um, Narrow minded are people who are instinctively fear and oppose any and okay. Basically, they are not open to different views. Okay. Okay. Well, Christina, my suggestion: double up on the chicken soup, double up on the tea, drink some fluids so you don't get dehydrated. Sorry about that. Okay. Another trait that they have, they're very opinionated. Okay. Their views is the only view, and no other views exist. And if anyone come across with a different view, they become fearful. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Okay. Now, there are also some mutual synonyms um, to the phrase. What one of them is inflexible, rigid, obstinate, stubborn, intolerant, prejudiced, bigoted, petty, narrow. I mean, there's a long laundry list of synonyms for people who are opinionated. Okay. Is there anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, you cover basically all the bases, to be honest with you. So, one thing I would say is that, um, I don't. I think that you also might add on that list immature.
Yes. You know what? I would agree. And, and one thing I have noticed, um, there's a certain amount of immaturity with some of the individuals in the YouTube streets. We are seeing it all the time. Uh, Fortunately, we have not seen it on my channel, but unfortunately, Denise, we have seen it at yours. Good evening, to a teacher. To teacher, I miss you. I know that you've been very busy, but whenever you're able to come, you have a home here.
One thing I wanted to say regarding the slow tips. Hi, Truth. I haven't heard Truth Teacher talk in I don't know how long. But one thing I would say is that talking about, and I'm still waiting for my forehead wonder bra. Okay. Anyway, because I have a big forehead. I'm in that club too.
Well,
So
excuse me, I disagree.
no, I do. Trust me. Like my whole hand, I have to contour my forehead, but me and Truth Teacher are twinning. But one thing I will say, going back to like the slow taps and whatnot, is the fact that I encountered in November 13. I think I'm gonna try to share it. I posted on my Instagram this morning something that I encountered on Psychology Today, which is basically they did a study, a long term study on the US, Australia, and I don't remember which other country's population. And I wanted to bring Christina with the yeah, I'm still. I gave a $5 donation for my Wonder Bra. Still haven't received it. Bad customer service on Truth T-shirts end. Okay, now basically, I don't know if you're able to share it, Jose. But
Okay. Yes.
basically,
Yes. I'll do it right now. Here we go.
okay. I posted this on my Instagram, and it basically goes to say the
Okay.
precipitous
Basically, yeah.
decline.
I'll do it. Here
Oh,
we
there's
go.
some
Okay.
feedback.
Okay.
I posted this. I think you have some feedback, Ramon. So basically, it says the precipitous decline of emotional intelligence, and basically, what this study is talking about. I'm gonna go over it like very quickly. It says emotional intelligence is a complex construct consisting of four factors: well-being, self-control, emotionality, and sociability. The factor of well-being encompasses the one's positive self-evaluations as well as feelings of happiness and optimism. The factor of self control includes the ability of regulate one's feelings, including emotions, stress, and impulses. The factor of emotionality involves relationship skills, such as one's ability to accurately perceive one's own as well as others' feelings, and one's capacity to express empathy. The factor of sociability includes one's ability to communicate effectively, exert influence over others, and build social networks. Now, one thing I want to park here because if you think about it, when we're encountering this select group of people, and I don't know if every single one of us feels like this demographic is growing and growing exponentially. These factors, they might seem small, but in reality, if you think about it, I find it funny that the more we overuse social media today, the more we see this happening for people. We know already, according to psychologists and other experts on mental health, that they have connected directly the need for likes to the brain's need for dopamine, because it's basically like brain food. And whenever you get like a lot of likes, that basically feeds your psyche or your brain, I must say, with dopamine. And that's like a very extremely feel me good natural drug for the brain. And when people interact through social media, it's not real interactions. And what we're losing is emotional intelligence and our way to relate to each other. And I will explain myself more in a more simplistic way.
Okay.
For
Excuse me.
example,
I'm sorry. Before you go on, I just want to say good evening, Morena. And Rakim, I'm sorry that you're not able to join us tonight. Hopefully, you'll be able to get that situation taken care of soon because we really would love your input. I'm
absolutely.
I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
Okay.
don't worry. But one thing I would say is that if you take that into, let's go back to the 90s when we had the whole criticism of overexposure to video games, for example.
Mhm.
What we started seeing is that a lot of kids that were overexposed to video games are today adults that are not able to read the room or social cues. That's what we have, a lot of people that nowadays doesn't take like hints. They don't know how to see like facial features and understand that that person is upset or uncomfortable or sad or whatnot. They're not able to read these things because they were not overexposed to actual interactions that were in real time with real people.
Mhm.
Now, because everything has become cybernetic, like to this degree, now we're adding another layer to this in today's society, where people are able to hide behind a keyboard and say disgusting things to other people that they don't know, and there's no real consequences to that. The baddest thing that can happen to you is that your account gets taken down or frozen and whatnot. And they say these disgusting things, but they don't see the aftermath or the consequence of their actions. They don't see when the other people are probably having a bad day or are going through depression or are going through other situations. They don't see the other person get offended or cry, or how that can be detrimental to their mental health or their self-esteem and whatnot. And that creates a lack of empathy. I'm not thinking about where am I dumping bad comments or disgusting behavior, because I'm so disconnected from that person, and I have turned into a cyborg basically,
Okay.
because there is an extension of myself that is completely mechanic. And that's creating basically that the collective and society as a whole, because half of the population is connected to the internet, what that's creating is a generation of imbeciles, which is something that Einstein predicted like a long time before. And we have a lot of people with very poor to little to very non-existent emotional intelligence. We're not able to socialize the same way. We're seeing it even with women in the diverse steps when they, for example, blame the men for a lot of things, when in reality it's their own social awkwardness and their own, lack of self-awareness, and not having an ability to gauge themselves in the market, that's putting them in the position they're in, which is single and bitter. And the correct steps the same way. And people are not able to have all these feelings from actual natural interactions. And that's why this whole community of taps keeps growing and growing and growing exponentially, because your views basically will create the nasty response that you're going to have on the internet, that will not carry any type of consequence. And it is going to keep growing,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Yeah. First, excuse me. First of all, I just want to say I really appreciate the fact that already there are 8 likes and there are 5 people viewing this stream right now. So I just want to say I really appreciate it to the bottom of my heart. I guess there are people who like quality content. Let's welcome Ramon to the discussion. Good evening, Ramon.
Hey, good evening, don José, ¿cómo está? Hey,
Ay,
Denis,
muy bien,
¿qué es la que
gracias a Dios.
hay?
Hola, Ramón.
Todo bien, chica.
Todo bien, todo bien.
Qué bueno, qué bueno.
Barriga llena y corazón contento.
Muy importante, Dacho. No, 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 eso, si no hay barriga llena, hay mal humor. Hay
Tú
mal
sabes
humor.
cómo nosotros nos ponemos. Si nos dan
Sí,
hambre y no nos
sí,
alimentamos, se forma aquí un Royal Rumble, ¿ok?
eso así. Después, bendito, el pobre MK es el que va a tener que bregar con eso.
Exacto, ya tú sabes.
Mhm.
Qué bien, qué bien. Well, and also, what's up to everybody in the chat? I'm gonna say something a little. I'll say a little something to Christina in a minute. Yeah. I mean, I did see that post that you put on your Instagram, and yeah, it is unfortunate that uh, we're coming up on a generation that is getting too dependent on social media, and they're not being able to socialize face to face. This pandemic is not helping it at all. It's only making it worse, and we don't know how long that's gonna last. But it is always the way it's been for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years, for humanity has been people being able to meet, being able to meet and interact face to face. That's the way it's always been. That's only been in the last few years where this whole emergence of social media has actually pulled those apart from each other physically, and we in a whole generation of young people are only being able to socialize via the internet and not with each other face to face the way it should be, the way it's been forever since recently, until recently, I should say. And I can only say we should get back to that. We should get back to being able to interact the right way, which is meeting each other. I get it. I get it. There is still this whole thing with the pandemic that makes it a little bit difficult, but we should be able to still go back to that, at least to a degree.
But you know something, Ramon, I'm afraid it's going to, we're getting into a generation where uh, people will only talk to each other with an avatar. And they're not even texting each other anymore. They're using emojis, uh, which is kind of, which, excuse me and please forgive me if I sound a little judgmental. It's a, you know, it's a little bit lazy if you have to use emojis to communicate.
Not only that, like we can take like a real time experience that we have had. I don't know if the teacher is still here, but I remember the incident with Truth Teacher, for example, with Dominican restaurant,
Uh,
and
Okay,
and
excuse me, remember, we're not going to malign anybody. The whole purpose is to give an analytical
yeah,
review
it's
regarding
gonna
his.
be an analysis. It's gonna be an analysis. But for example, if they were to have those interactions in real time, it's something that I said even when this was happening. If they were going to be having, if Dominican restaurant, for example, was going to be having those same attacks at Truth Teacher, which is an older person, wiser, more capable of holding his ground and whatnot in person, the results that we would have seen was not going to be people coming to his rescue, feeling sorry for himself, inflammating the whole thing, and blowing it out of proportion to fit a narrative where True Teacher was put in a place of being like a bad person when he was not. In reality, he was just being a normal human being with normal human responses, and he would have grown, I think, emotionally, because he would have learned, hey, if I'm able to say these things, I have to be able to take the consequences. And those consequences in the street would have been you would have get punched in the mouth. And from that you will learn that you have your ability to defend yourself is going to have to match your talking. And that's something we are losing, to the point that we're living in an era that reminds me a lot of a movie that I saw in 2009, I believe. I think I'm going to share with you. Yeah, it's 2009. And I'm going to share it real quick for the sake of this conversation. And it's called Surrogates. I don't know if you can share it, Jose.
Yes, one moment, please.
And I want to read it because I want you guys to see the similarities of this movie to what we're seeing today. And this was done like 12 years ago. Um, you have it? Okay,
Yes.
perfect. And the synopsis basically is set in a futuristic world where humans live in isolation and interact throughout surrogate robots. A cop is forced to leave his home for the first time in years in order to investigate the murders of other surrogates. People are living their lives remotely from the safety of their own homes via robotic surrogates, sexy, physically perfect mechanical representations of themselves. It's an ideal world where crime, pain, fear, and consequences don't exist. When the first murder in years jolts this utopia, FBI agent Greer discovers a vast conspiracy behind the surrogate phenomenon and must abandon his own surrogate, risking his life to unravel the mystery. So basically, what we're seeing today is very close to that, to be honest with you. And that's why I have encouraged a lot of people to actually watch this movie so that we can understand what we're seeing right now. I know it's very much to the extreme, but in reality that's basically what we are seeing right now. People are going down that path where they're going to be represented by what they want the world to see, the aspects of themselves that they want the world to see. We've seen it with celebrities that they only show us the beautiful side of their lives. And then when a scandal breaks out, we're like, well, where all this happiness that they were portraying in social media went to? Because we're only seeing what they allow us to see and what they want the world to see about themselves. And that applies even to all of us. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes in our real lives that we're not letting other people know. And the only lives that we have and the only things that we're living through is our experiences on Instagram or the 240 characters or Twitter on Twitter.
Hmm.
And that's what's feeding the whole social awkwardness and the whole aggressive approach without any consequences that we're seeing from the TEPS community.
Yes. And it is it is sad, but it's so true. The fact of the matter is that community is growing exponentially, and there is some other adjectives that could describe them: twisted, warped, slanted, small-minded, partisan, sectarian, obstinate, dogmatic, chauvinistic. As you can see, guys, the list can go on and on and on. And I just want to say I appreciate the fact that right now there's 7 people watching the stream. I really appreciate you guys very much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Me too. We need to have more of these conversations, and I want to ask you guys, since we're here talking about this stuff, do you think, like, if you were to fix this situation, what would be like a safe approach that we can apply to the TEPS community, or the mics, like Jose likes to call them? Um, if we were to apply like a cure for all medicine when it comes to solve this type of situation, what could be a possible solution to the decline in emotional intelligence that we're seeing in the internet and also in these people's lives?
Um, I'm going to let Ramon share his thoughts.
When it comes to what we're seeing, that has to do with generations. That's what you were saying.
I'm just asking, like, what can be done if we are to like rescue humanity from like this lack of emotional intelligence right now? What can be a possible solution that can be like a cure for all type of scenario to fix this whole thing?
Wow. Yeah, that's something that's right now. Right now, we will have to first get over all of the restrictions when it comes to the whole pandemic. If we can get over that part, that will be a start. But also being able to be around each other again. And now, if we were to say like take away some of that, then there will be like a breach of freedom of speech or freedom of choice or things like that. It will involve taking something away. When it comes to the whole social media, there will have to be some kind of restrictions that will force people to interact with each other. To a degree, I don't know if I will be opposed to it, because most social media I don't care for. Of course, I care about YouTube. That's how I can get to talk to you guys, and Instagram here and there. But it will involve a major change, a major level, possibly of restriction when it comes to the choices, the options. When it comes, the first one that will have to go will be TikTok. I think that TikTok will have to go. Maybe you like it. Maybe some of you
No,
guys,
I don't.
maybe some of you guys like TikTok. The other one that will have to go will be Tumblr. Tumblr is like a cesspool of people that they don't know what gender they are, and it's like, yeah, yes. And
Oh my god.
those are the examples that I can give you off the top of my head. But there are certain media, there are certain outlets that society is not benefiting at all. They are just being harmful. They are just being damaging.
Look at Morena. Morena is like, no, I love TikTok. Llévate a Tumblr.
Okay. Some of the videos in TikTok is actually positive. Okay, some.
So exactly, just a few of them.
Okay, but some of it is pure garbage, particularly when you get this TikTok and they go like, Holy Spirit, activate! Holy Spirit, activate! Holy Spirit, activate! 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 Let's go. You know,
I
you
don't
know,
even have one.
do you know how cringeworthy that is for me as a Christian and as a human being to treat The Holy Spirit as an Alexa?
Oh my God.
Okay,
Like
I mean,
positive,
look,
informative, and funny.
no, but I mean, look, I mean, I actually cringe. So when I see it, I swipe, 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 swipe because I don't want. I mean, okay,
But Jose, do you have a TikTok?
yes, I do. And in fact, some of the
Ah, look at you. I don't even have a TikTok. You're ahead of me.
Interesting. I guess I'm not your typical baby boomer.
No, I guess not, because I honestly don't even know how to use TikTok. I will need a tutorial from you.
Okay, well, you know what? Okay, when I do visit you, whether it be next year or whenever time
Whenever
out.
we plan it, whenever we plan it.
Yes, but okay, this is how I look at it this way. Um, Unfortunately, we cannot wait until the pandemic is over to try to correct some of the issues that's affecting the mix because it might be too late.
Mhm.
And to be perfect, and I try to look at things at the glasses half full. The sad part is there's some people they're too far gone to save. Okay, others can be, they can be brought back to the light, but it will require a great deal of patience. We're going to have to meet them where they are, which means try to interact with them without having our brain cell deteriorate and turn to mush.
You know what's my solution, in my opinion? One thing that didn't allow me to decline in emotional intelligence and be more empathetic with people and more not be socially awkward. It was because I was surrounded by a lot of grown-ups that were either baby boomers or Gen Xers and whatnot that used to bring shame into our circles. And that's the only, and what I mean by shame is not like humiliating people. What I mean by shame is just we have to start putting things, and that's why I support your channel continuously, because we need to start crowding every social media platform with more common sense, and also without all the wokeism and the gender fluid rhetorics and narratives that we're seeing today. And I don't mean that as a jab at the LGBTQ plus community. I'm talking about all the bottom feeders that are trying to insert themselves in their plight when they really don't even participate in it. What I'm saying is basically we have to start crowding these spaces with actual content that puts these people in perspective that they are wrong. We cannot just let, because I know it can feel overwhelming when we're talking to people like the mix and regards of like the actions that they do and the way they express themselves and whatnot. We have to start keep it going and keep talking about this whole situation, because it's the only way that they're gonna correlate. Human beings are creatures of habit, and when they open their social media and whatnot, they need to open social media and understand you can say whatever you want here, you can behave whatever you want in any way you want. However, you're going to be met with so much resistance because that's the way the world functions, and you're going to be met with reality. It's time for us to bring reality into social media. That is, in my opinion, the only solution to the decline in emotional intelligence due to the overexposure to social media.
Well, one thing that I have been endeavoring to do from the beginning, to try to keep it positive, try to keep it informative, and try to keep it real. Actually, and that stands a great deal regarding my Christian upbringing. Okay. So I try to look at things in a positive light, but you have to keep it real. You have to be truthful, and you have to expose whenever there is darkness, but do it in a way that's not so judgmental, but is a form of correction.
What you mean, like not judgmental, like not telling them, like, for
No,
example.
you see, you can address what a person is wrong, but simply stating why it is wrong. That's what I mean.
Without, you mean like without humiliating them or like playing their role wrong?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Now, I am a person that you guys know I'm very outspoken, and also I have no filter.
That's true.
So, it's going to be a little difficult for me to say things with quote unquote love, because I think that that doesn't necessarily work with my generation and the generation after millennials. It doesn't work. Like the love approach doesn't work. Tough love has taught me more than any person that ever approached me with pañitos tibio.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, yeah, we need to bring change back. We need to bring change back and start, letting people know what's unacceptable. And that is by crowding the spaces with reality. And we need to, in order for us to do that in large numbers, we have to first bring into and make sure that older generations are included, because we know that only half of the population is on social media. Only half of the population.
Mhm.
And that's because, first, internet access, and second, because of the age gap. And people are not very technological, unlike you, because apparently you even know the dances of TikTok.
Well, um, I know that when it comes to baby boomers, I'm a little bit different, but I still have a great deal to learn with social media and to try to add a little polish to my channel. But thanks to people like yourself and Melanated Night, you've been very helpful um, in my process.
Absolutely. But I think to be honest with you, we need to bring
Hey
more
guys.
people. Go ahead,
Yes.
Ramon.
Yeah, my bad. For some reason, I got cut off, and I'm having to use a different device so I could get back in. What did
The
I miss?
mics. Oh, we were talking about, like, I was suggesting that the same way we have like an overcrowding group of people
Hello?
that are. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Ramon?
Okay. Excuse me, Denise. Good evening, Muche. So the reason for the suit, so to speak, is just I just came from a function, so I haven't even had a chance to change. That's the
Yeah.
reason.
Jose is more
Ah, you're so
sophisticated.
formal, Jose.
Yeah, he's more sophisticated. That's his uniform for his channel. Get used
Keeping
to
it
it.
formal, keeping it classy. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah. We need to learn from you.
Yeah, yeah. No rolos, no batas.
Now I know that for a moment I got caught off, and we were talking about that what will have to change so that it could improve the situation when it comes to this generation that is becoming more and more disconnected socially from each other.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I got caught off, and
I was
and
suggesting
I don't know what did I miss.
I was suggesting that we have to crowd the spaces with basically, bring shame back. Because I was saying, like, if you think about it, like my parents and the people that were in my circle, like the adults in the circle where I was growing up, used to always tell us the reality of the world instead of just telling us sweet things. So I think like the only solution, because Jose was bringing up the point that if we wait for the pandemic to end, it might be too late. I think one solution might be just bringing reality back into the
Don Jose,
equation.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yeah,
hear you.
can you hear
Ah,
us?
okay. It's just that I was hearing all this deafening silence. Is Denise in
Oh,
here?
yeah, I'm here.
Excuse me, Moon Chaser, you're more than welcome. I dropped the link if you wish to opine. Otherwise, you can just put in whatever comments in the chat. I'm sorry, Ramon. Please continue.
Yes, yes. No, it's just that I was wondering because I couldn't hear Denise. I don't know if there was an issue.
Can you hear me now? I think he cannot hear me. Jose, then you let him know what I was saying, like regarding of like a possible solution for
Yeah.
this whole thing.
Well, what Denise was talking about, that we will have to bring shame back in order for these members of the mentally and intellectually challenged community to wake up from their slumber of stupidity.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're living in a time where using shame is considered to be abusive, is considered to be inappropriate or out of line, and then you trying to bring the shame as kind of like as a way to wake people up or something, but you are the bad guy for doing that. Like the one that makes the least sense, the form of shaming that makes the least sense in decrying it or having a problem with is when it comes to the slut shaming, because you're not supposed to slut shame, even though it is an actual slut, even if you're doing it for their own good. I mean, somebody who's a slut should be shamed for it, probably. I mean, if they don't want to be shamed, then don't be a slut. I mean, why is that so hard to understand?
Um, the reason why it's so hard to understand, Ramon, because it makes too much sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And I see that I got a dislike. Oh, you know what? To each one's own.
You got
Dislike.
Denise got the rolos on. Okay,
yeah, today
okay.
yeah.
She got the rolos on.
The rolos and the batas. You know how
Well, are you under the hair dryer? That is kind of like a helmet.
no.
You stick your head inside the helmet. I remember
No.
she will kill me for saying that, but I remember my sister when I was young. My sister having to do that.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
trust me. That you know what? My aunt used to have her rolos on, put the redecilla on, and then go about her day and let it air dry. And I always thought that was so ridiculous. And to be honest with you, even the doobies, you know, even the doobies, you look like a damn satellite with all them freaking pinches on and whatnot. But you know, we have to look cute the next day. We have to look presentable.
Listen, Moon Chaser, I really, well, thank you anyway for even, putting in your 2 cents, because your opinions matter.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
please continue.
No, but literally,
Yeah, as I was saying, using a little bit of shaming is not. It's not necessarily a bad thing if it comes from a good place, kind of like forcing somebody to see the error of their ways, and like no coddling. There is too much coddling going on.
there's too many
That's not helping.
participation
We're living
trophies.
in a time of the participation trophies
Yeah.
and the coddling to not hurt somebody's feelings. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't really like that when you were growing up, and it definitely, I know, even though I'm younger than you, it wasn't like that when I was
No,
growing
it
up. In
was,
fact,
it was not, it was, believe me, it was not anything near like that. I mean, we all, we play basketball or baseball or what have you, and if our team lose, we would, be good sports and just shake the hand and say, "We'll catch you next time." Nowadays, everyone gets upset if they don't get a shinier participation trophy, and they become a bigger snowflake than the
yeah,
next person.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a problem. That's a
Yeah.
problem. I mean, too many hurt feelings, and like you said, the snowflakes, too fragile. It's difficult to see leaders coming out of a bunch like that.
Okay.
Would
I
you
mean, even if we
imagine?
weren't perfect, at least we tried better. Now it's like
Would you
there
imagine?
are there is also the whole thing about the role reversals, um, where men are not supposed to be their manly selves, their masculine selves, and they are being shamed for being masculine. I mean, being a heterosexual is starting to become a bad thing more and more. I mean, heterophobia is starting to become a real thing, and that I think that's very concerning.
And you know what's
Disconcerting,
crazy? You know
I should
what's
say.
crazy?
Yeah.
I was deemed I was put on Twitter jail. Like I said like many times before, every time I go on Twitter, at some point I'm gonna go into Twitter jail. Like I was put in Twitter jail for 12 hours because allegedly I'm a whorephobic. And I'm like,
Homophobic.
yeah, last time I checked, like I'm not scared of whores. Like they don't scare me. Then the next time was like, oh, you're being you're being a homophobic, you're being transphobic,
So
you're being
that you wanted to say to them?
no, it's just an opinion that I stated, that I said, whores are needed in a society, but we don't need large numbers of them there because we're not going to have a sustainable economy. it,
Uh,
it is what it is. And they're like, oh, you're homophobic, but don't worry, I will report you. And I was put 12 hours on Twitter jail for being a homophobic. Somebody enlightened me on that. Like, I don't understand what's a person. I'm not scared of whores. Like, I don't understand that. I still haven't found an actual definition of what's a homophobic.
Denise, don't you know that all horse lives matter?
Oh my god. Oh
And just like Olympic lives matter as well.
my god.
But
Look, there was a dude. Look, there was another thing, and I get it. My views are extremely controversial, and I don't care. But there was, I don't know if you remember the Lil Nas Satan shoe situation. I was put, and again, like if I get one more strike on Twitter, my account will be deleted and deactivated forever. Because I was saying, okay, the conversation went down like this. People were criticizing his Satan shoe, and I literally said, what is the problem with the Satan shoe when this same company several months ago had a Jesus shoe with holy water blessed by a priest, and nobody said nothing? Shouldn't Satanists have like the same rights to have a shoe that praises their Lord? And people started coming at me, and I was like, well, this country only allows freedom of religion as long as it's God-centric. And they're like, no, like, I mean, who wants to praise the devil and do orgies and kill people and blah blah blah, sacrifice children and chickens and blah blah blah? And I was like, you know what, and they were like, oh, we're not scared of Satan, we're not against Satanists and whatnot, we just think this is a mockery and blah blah blah. And I was like, you know what, hail Satan. And they were like going at me all types of way, and they already reported my account for a second time. And I was put on Twitter jail again simply by saying hail Satan.
um, be careful, Denise. You're becoming more and more in common with Trump.
Look at what Laura Okage said.
Good evening, Laura Hokage. By all means, if you want to drop in, do so. If not, well, you're more than welcome to put your comments. You're more than welcome to put in your 2 cents. But let's get into some. Like I said, these individuals are dogmatic, and there are certain words that's similar to the term, which are arrogant, bigoted, bullheaded, fanatical, egotistical, domineering, obstinate, one-sided, pig-headed, stiff-necked, stubborn, tyrannical, wrong-headed. Now, that's the first time I ever heard such a term, but I guess it does exist. And it goes on and on and on and on and on.
There's so many different things you can call them. In reality, there's one word that encompasses the whole thing.
Which is?
Stupid.
Okay.
That's basically it, Jose. Because if it's imbeciles. You know what? It's even better. It's imbeciles or
Okay.
oxymorons.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
actually, I think I think you're insulting the imbeciles by referring to them as imbeciles.
Okay, then oxymoron. I'll settle for that one.
That's something in the chat.
No, there was us Lord Hokage entering his
Input.
Hi, Hokage. That doesn't surprise me. No, we're not talking about orgies, my dude.
No, you
nah,
were talking about the Satanists and
At
how
least
they
not
were
tonight.
doing, like, they were being accused of doing orgies and stabbing people and whatnot. And he's like, if they do orgies, like, I might join.
Denise, if I'm not careful, someone might take away my Christian card away.
Oh my God, someone's gonna eat your Christian cookie, Jose.
Okay, so what is it? What is it with Dennis? Los rolos no la dejan.
Los rolos están cortándote la
Well,
señal.
are you under the hair dryer?
No, I am not. I swear, I'm not.
I'm messing with you.
El satélite del.
Eso me recuerda a la hermana mía cuando se ponía los rolos y tenía que ponerse esto en
La secadora,
en el secador de pelo, que era como un casco así.
No, ahora, you know what? Like now.
Tú sabes a lo que me refiero.
No, but to be honest with you, now you don't have to have that hard cast on you. Like,
so where were we?
Now you have like this cap that you connect to your blow dryer. You turn it on, and to be honest with you, it dries your hair the same way. And you can move around and do whatever, and you'll be free.
I just want to comment that I got 9 likes now and no dislikes, and there's actually 7 people viewing this stream tonight.
Oh, hi everybody! Hit that
right.
like button. Cash App Jose also. And if you don't
Hey,
follow
Manchari
him
said,
on
no,
Instagram,
we're not talking about orgies here. That's what the Hokage said.
No. We're talking about all the slope tech communities, which I refer to them as the mentally and intellectually challenged. Oh no! Don't include me into all that, Christina. You should know me better than that.
You're nasty.
Man,
Yeah, Christina, I'm with you. They're nasty, Christina. Not you guys, but
But you know what? There's certain people have certain things that on their mind. Okay, let's see. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I got offended for a moment. I thought you were talking about me. I mean,
Ramon,
I can be a little nasty, yeah, but in the right situation, not now.
Now let's get now there are like I said, these people tend to be fanatical, and there's certain similar phrase terms like bias, headstrong, partisan, rabid. I don't know how radical Latinos going to react to this. Radical, single-minded, stubborn, narrow-minded, obsessive, willful, partial.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I can go on for hours talking about all these different synonyms and what have you, but
yeah, one great recent example of what you're describing would be the red hat wearers, the MAGA hat wearers. They were very much behaving like what you just described.
Well, according to them, Trump is their savior.
Well, they don't understand that. Okay, they wanna come across as being the most conservatives, but Trump, until 2015, was a New York Democrat. A lot of these people don't understand that. I mean,
yeah, he played the people.
Trump was faking it as a Republican to run for president. as a Republican, but all of his life until 2015, he was a Democrat. He was a New York Democrat.
Yeah.
So that whole thing about having this outrage, having all this anger, all this vitriol towards the the towards the Democrats, and for the most of his life, for the first 70 years of his life, that was Trump. He was a New York
And,
Democrat.
and not only that, he was pro-choice, and then he became pro-life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That goes into that. No, you can look it up. I'm not making that up.
Yeah, no, we know.
You know what?
Trust
It's
me.
there. It's there. I mean, don't take our word for it. Look it up.
No, don't believe us. Don't believe me. But look it up. Before 2015, he was a New York Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Yeah. And I just and his mantra, "Make America Great Again."
When America,
Well,
that's one question. When
that's something that
America
I
was
had already
great.
heard before.
Okay.
When America was great.
Okay, I'm gonna state it in this fashion. It might be a little controversial, but I'm gonna ask
Yeah.
you to please hear me out before you make your response.
Hmm.
In some ways, this country is great. In the sense that there's diversity. Okay. Also, in some ways, it's great as far as like you can achieve your goals if you work hard and you're diligent and you don't give up your dreams and you remain focused. In that way, America is great. What is not great is the fact that first of all, let's keep it real. We have a problem with people who are different. And it goes back to 1619 when we brought in Africans as indentured servants.
But even before that, Don Jose,
Okay,
even
I
before that,
understand that.
because
I'm just simply saying. And then two se- and then 2 centuries and then 2 centuries later where
Acapulco.
where the indigenous people were being forced from their homes, okay, and
Yeah.
then the fact there were signs that saying Irish need not apply, Catholics may not stay here, and then look how we treated the Chinese in the later part of the 19th century. And what about the fact that the Japanese were placed in internment camps for fear that they will betray us and join Japan? And look how we treat people who are brown and black. I mean, another consequences regarding the pandemic is that people being killed simply because of their skin color.
And not only
Yeah.
that, like if we're moving past
Yeah.
the racial issues in this country,
That's something that's a problem that hasn't been resolved.
if we go back,
But all the more reason is that anybody non-white should be able to take measures to protect themselves, to defend themselves. I mean, I'm talking of somebody who lives in the South, so maybe that's why, because there is that down here, it's a bit more empowering. I mean, I understand that in certain parts of the country it's more difficult to do that, but taking measures for self-protection is somebody that anybody who is able to should do. Is because of that. Because of that exactly. Because one can try to be the most law-abiding, most peaceful person possible, but trouble can still find you. Trouble can still be brought to your doorstep.
not only that,
And the police are not necessarily gonna be there. I mean,
No.
a lot of for the most part, a lot of the time, okay, if they can show up on the scene and prevent something bad from happening, great, wonderful. But a lot of the time, they're not gonna make it in time. They're not gonna be able to make it in time. I mean, it's not like in the movies, where in the movies or in the TV shows, the police always show up on time to save the day. To save the day, that's not real life. That's not real life. I'll be the first one to say, hey, you can take measures to protect yourself and your loved ones and your property, then that's what you should do. You should do that. Learn
Not
the laws of
only
your state concerning that.
not only that,
Yeah.
Ramon, but also like if you think about it, if we move past the issue of race, um, America, even financially, which I think that's where that comes from. A lot of people took it that way, obviously, because it was inflamed by the media. But to be honest with you, I think they were referring more to like a financial stance. America was only great financially for 6 years of its life. And that was 1835 when the president of the United States was fed up with debt. He hated debt simply because he had personal
So
losses
what
in the
else? So
past.
what else? I mean, how can we keep this going?
No, this is the thing. He imposed like a lot of. He literally preached to the American public at the time. He literally preached to them that
I
you know.
do hear kind of like a voice, like an interference. I don't know where's that coming from.
I think it's your device, but I'm gonna say something. He implemented. President Jackson implemented an austerity measures on the people, and he explained to people that America
Hey, Don
needed to get
Jose,
out of debt. Oh,
do you already have your plans for Thanksgiving? It's coming up.
Jose, I think Ramon can hear me. Ramon, can you hear me? No, he can't hear me.
You don't know yet?
Well,
I think the mix are affecting his equipment. Ramon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, what is it? You can hear me?
No, you can't hear me.
You know what? It might be a delay.
Oh, okay.
It might be a delay, like maybe 5 to 10 seconds. Um, that's what it appears to be.
Oh, I see. I see. No, well, that's unusual because I can hear you guys immediately. So
Okay, well,
I wonder what's going on. Yeah. Apparently, I don't think we're saying anything too controversial for there to be any outside interference.
yes, but we gotta understand the mix are so sensitive that if we say "oh," they'll have a heart attack and shrivel up and die.
Well, maybe. Well, I don't wish that on anybody, but if they are too fragile to live in the real world, then I don't know what to tell them.
Well, first of all, I just like to appreciate the fact that right now there are 7 people viewing this live stream, and I just want to say again, I really appreciate the support I've been getting.
All right, and all of you guys that are watching, hit the likes.
Yes, please.
Hit that like button, hit that catch up. Jose, you don't have your catch up out?
You know what? Let me just do that. Here it is. But getting back to the subject. There are certain individuals that cannot be saved. There are those that can be saved. It's just that it's going to take a great deal of mental exhaustion to try. Okay, and actually, I think it was the stream before your last one. The stream when there was an individual that he started out as a Mick, but then he got a little bit more intelligent.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's good. That's good. But that's the thing because that starts with the self. Is something that's a change that has to happen from the inside out, and the person has to be willing to understand that something is wrong. That they need to improve on something. That's something that they have to acknowledge first. It's like with anything, like some type of an addiction. You can only correct something, a problem, if you acknowledge that there is a problem. You have to acknowledge that first. I mean, there is no other way because somebody from around you, people that care about you, can try to help you and try to help you, but the person has to be willing to help themselves. That's why I don't, as cold as it might seem, that's why people shouldn't, I don't know, shouldn't try to help somebody who is a junkie, because they have to admit that they have a problem, so they can be helped. And there are people with dependencies that they don't want to change it. They don't want to change it. There is really nothing that can be done there.
Actually, there's one thing that's common, whether it be AA, NA, or Sexual Addiction Anonymous. The first step is to acknowledge that you have a problem.
Yeah,
But how do
exactly.
you know? But how do you
Exactly.
know you have a problem?
Exactly.
How do you identify
That's what
that
it
you have a
starts.
problem?
That's what it starts with. Whatever the problem is, if it's something that can be helped, it has to start with the person admitting that they need help, that they have a problem, that they need help. Has to
Um,
be.
Now, this is going to sound kind of like Christian like, and excuse me, but I am a Christian. But I mean,
Also,
but the fact of the matter is, when you have a thing that you're thinking about it 24/7,
yeah,
it becomes an idol. Like, for example, you have people who are addicted to drugs, so they'll do anything to get those drugs, whether it be rob, steal, or what have you. Or if a person that cannot get enough sex, okay, they have to have sex like 8, 9, 10 times a day, and they'll do whatever to try to get that fix. Or the person loves to eat. I mean not just eat. I mean like gorge, like pig out every time, all the time.
okay, you're talking about the whole gluttony thing.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's just like for the drug dealer, drugs is their idol. For the sex maniac, sex is their idol. For the person that's a glutton, food is their idol. So that's what happened is for a person to realize that they have a problem, they have to realize that whatever they have, whatever they're thinking about 24/7 has become their idol.
Okay. Yeah. 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 It can be problematic.
Yeah, that's
No,
why I
that-
that's why I
yeah.
say that's why I say it's kind of Christian like, but it's a reality.
No. Okay. No. That's fine. That's fine, because we're talking about the real world. We're not talking about a belief in something that may or may not be confirmed. What you're talking about is in the real world, and the one that I may not that I may not agree completely with, it would be the whole thing about sex addiction. I have been hearing that one for years, and I don't believe in that. It's just that it can be problematic to have a very strong libido. Having a very strong libido is not necessarily a bad thing, as long as it is channeled properly in a healthy way. Um, Now the others, well, we're talking about substances that do create a serious, very serious dependency that can end up killing you. But if you're channeling a strong libido, that's not necessarily a bad thing, as long as if it doesn't affect negatively other people. If it affects other people negatively, or even if it affects negatively the person itself, himself or herself, then having a strong libido, I don't think there is anything wrong with that, as long as it can be held under control.
Okay. Good evening, Terrell. I hope you're doing well tonight. I hope you're not gonna go and, well, let's just say, you know, you know, you're welcome to enter your comments as long as it's positive. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Now we're keeping it positive here.
No,
We're
I'm
keeping
talking
it
about
positive.
Terrell.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Glad to hear that, Terrell. I'm sorry. Please continue.
It's fun. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of reading what Denise put in the chat. Your answer reminds me of Mickey
Mhm.
Rourke's based on a legend fling with Courtney Love. Oh, so those two were hooking up? Mickey Rourke
No,
and Courtney Love, those two were
no.
hooking up?
Oh my God.
I didn't know
Okay.
that. I didn't know
No,
that.
Ramon, you can Jose, tell Ramon
Okay,
that he
maybe
cannot
if they
hear
were
me.
screwing like rabbits, hey, if nobody was getting hurt, that's fine.
Well,
Oh, Jose, tell Ramon that he cannot hear me.
you know what it is. I think he hears you, but there's a delay.
No, but just tell him because he can't hear
Ah, okay,
me.
okay.
He can't just tell him because he
Yeah,
can't
yeah, you
hear
mentioned
me.
something about that there is,
You see, he cannot
that
hear
there
me.
is a,
Well, no, it's not that can't hear me, but for some reason there is a delay.
okay.
Okay.
Ask him if he can hear me, if he hears my voice, Jose.
Can Ramon? Can you hear Denise?
I can hear her. I can hear her.
You see, it
I can
doesn't.
hear her.
Okay.
I didn't know. I didn't know she was. I didn't know she was talking.
You see what
I
I'm
didn't know.
saying?
I can hear her on my end. I can hear you.
Okay. I think the mix are upset that we're talking about this subject.
Oh,
But see, but like I said before, I mean, we're just when first of all, we're not citing anyone in particular. We're just giving some general, characteristics that they all have.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I mean, I think Michelle Obama said it very well. When they go low, you go high.
No, I don't. I
Uh,
don't agree with that. Agree
well.
when
I
they
mean,
go
that was like
low,
a
we go
very
underground.
classy expression that she did a number of years ago. But I don't know. I don't know if it is valid anymore because sometimes if they go low, you can meet them at you could meet them at their level. Like I think that the expression is a little different today. Like you can't always ignore it. Sometimes you do have to confront something that is being somebody's trying to give you ish about something. Like okay, um, like for example, not no when something is being done to you. I know that there is the whole New Testament thing about turning the other cheek and kind of like um
Also,
you can't go with the whole an eye for an eye because it leaves somebody blind. Well, I don't know. It's kind of like how do I make it? It's about kind of like getting even things out. Like that, maybe the message will come across better than as to like, hey, leave me the hell alone. You try to
well,
strike me, I'll strike back.
let me just. I'm going to get off the topic just a little bit, but there's a situation where I had a relationship. Okay, but where I was involved with someone, and she broke my heart, and as a result of that, I got into a serious bout of depression. Um, the fact of the matter is, after she dumped me, she got into a whole bunch of loser relationships with other people. And then she wanted to come back and talk about me giving her a second chance. Nah, I don't think so. You had your opportunity. You didn't appreciate me. So, nah, I don't think so. I mean, I know I can, I'm mild mannered and what have you, but I'm not stupid.
There are certain instances in which one had to learn kind of the hard way. So it was specifically talking about a significant other or a potential significant other. Then I can tell you that there are certain things that I can see them coming from a mile away. I don't fall for them for the bullshit anymore. So excuse my French. So
It's
yeah,
okay. You know me. I am not going to censor people here.
yeah.
And I know some of my Christian brethren are upset because I don't censor people. But I believe in letting people express themselves as long as they're respectful.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing.
Hmm. So, Denise, do you wish to opine?
Come again?
Do you wish to opine?
Do you wish you what?
Do you wish to express your viewpoint?
Oh,
We
my
can't hear you. We
viewpoint.
can't really hear you.
Can you hear me, Jose?
Yes, I can. I think the mix. I'm trying to interfere with the audio
Yeah,
um,
okay.
because they're upset up that we're talking about this topic.
Hmm.
Well, to me, like I said, in all honesty, I believe in the whole bring shame back approach, and we need to stop caring about when people get offended. You
Hmm.
know, there's too much sensitivity in the equation, and if we know something, and I know I'm gonna get a little historical here, but if you look at past civilizations, when people tend to get very liberal and very sensitive, it was okay. Liberalism is tied to emotions, conservatorship is tied to logic, and both are extremes. Like if you for example look at liberals and the way they are, though, they're more creatives, they're more into how they feel, sentiments of love and anger and contempt and whatnot. But when you look at conservative people, like more conservative people, are more tied to duty, to they're more tied to what makes sense and stuff like that. So the problem in the world has always been that one side and the other start a war at all times, and we go from a very conservative society, and instead of getting into a centric where both can live in harmony, what we do is that we one side gets liberal all the way till it's too loose to flex on everything. That doesn't bring good results because it's a polarity. So the conservatives start showing people that their way is the only way that can fix the liberals problems. And what happens is that you get a lot of people that are liberals listening to the conservatives, and what happens is that we start walking then back to being more conservative, and in the way it's going to feel good because it's going to start correcting certain things with logic. But when we keep walking into a conservative mindset, then we get to the point where we abandon all human feeling and we only act based on logic. And then a lot of things start going off balance. And then we go back to being very liberal and so on. And if we don't stop this with put logic where logic belongs and feelings where feelings belong, the problem is that eventually we're going to go back to a very strict conservative culture, and it's going to continue to go back and forth. So like I said, that's why I believe in bringing shame back. There is a book, uh, I don't remember its name, but I know it's Douglas Murray. Douglas Murray said in one of his interviews and one of his books, when he was talking about how all civilizations that became like very prominent and dominant in the world at some point started obsessing about gender and race.
Hmm.
And that's basically what we're seeing happening with America. If you think about it, when Greece was like this amazing, great, and powerful empire, they started obsessing about this to the point that we even have Plato explaining homosexuality and heterosexuality in some of his theories. And also when you look at the Roman Empire, at some point it started like when the gladiators era, when Rome was at its peak and whatnot, and they established a lot of things, and including the Catholic Church, which is very conservative. At some point they conquered so much land, and they built such a strong empire that there was nothing else to conquer, and everybody was so comfortable that they started obsessing about the same thing, gender and race.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that happens in every civilization when it reaches its epitome or its peak status. It's so weird. And it's like I said, you guys can look this up like by yourselves and just establish your own judgment, but I think there's a correlation to that, to what we're seeing in America today, and not only in America, in every first world country in the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing, if you ever notice about history, um, every empire, it has its start. Then you have a point when it reaches its zenith as far as authority is concerned, and then there is like some sort of moral decay, and then slowly but surely the empire begins to decline, whether it be the Roman Empire, whether it be the British Empire, whether it be the Spanish Empire. I know the Hispanic texts are going to get upset.
Yeah, and not only that, even the Egyptians, like if you go by Christian mythology, um if you look at Egyptians when they were at its peak, what they obsessed with, the Hebrews, were they a different race?
Hmm.
Exactly. But it's like I said, it's something that you can say yes and no, but at the same time you have to look at history and call it what it is. And when you see people obsessed, that should be super telling. Like, I think if we're gonna do like an itemized list of who are the people that belong in the mental and intellectually challenged bracket, you have to look for two things. One is their obsession with race, and second will be the amount of time that they use social media or overuse social media. If there is like an overuse of social media, overexposure to social media, and you add to that an obsession with race and gender, that person belongs in the mental and intellectually challenged community. It's just as simple as that.
Well, the fact of the matter is, Denise, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I have to keep stating the facts. I mean, um, from the beginning, you share information that very few individuals are sharing. Um, of course, you are, outspoken, but that is your nature. Unfortunately, the only way people respond to what you're saying is by the usual old rhetoric, which is you're dating a black guy, you're fat, you're anti Latino man, and blah, 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 blah. And the reason why they say all this is because they cannot come back with what you're saying with logic. All they can do is talk like they are brain damage.
Yeah, because you know what, Jose, I'm not particularly smart. I never claimed that badge.
Well,
Is
like we were saying before, I mean,
Oh,
there
go
is
ahead.
really nothing that we can do. I mean, they're gonna choose to be where they are, and that's for they can be left behind. Not everybody can be helped.
Hmm.
You
But
can
to be
only help
honest,
who is willing
not
to be
only
helped.
that, it involves a lot of reading. It involves a lot of humbling. Because to be honest with you, the reason why I have learned everything that I have learned is because I have been humble enough to accept that, even though I might know a lot of things because I spend a lot of time of my life reading. Also the fact that when you walk into a room, you have to walk with the mindset that even though you know a lot of things, you might be the dumbest person in the room. And I think that's something that not a lot of people tend to have. They walk into rooms thinking they're the shit, and that's why they limit themselves from gaining knowledge. You can learn from everybody. I have learned even from homeless people on the street. So like I said, it's always that being humble is something that will take you further in life rather than being extra arrogant and cocky at all times.
It is true because when you are very boastful, I mean, you're going to set yourself for a big disappointment because there's always going to be someone that's more intelligent, more handsome, more muscular, more whatever. That is the reality. Um, I just want to say I appreciate the fact that we actually have 11 likes on this stream tonight. I think this has been one of the better streams I have done.
It's been very educational, very a very good topic actually.
Yes. As you can see, I do try to prepare with material which is relevant to the topic. I'm not just going to talk like, like certain individual and just spew rhetoric. I try to bring logic and evidence into the discussion. Unfortunately, not everyone does that, and YouTube is full of individuals who don't do that. Would you guys agree?
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Hmm. Well, at this point, I'm going to start to wrap up. First of all, I just want to thank everybody in the chat for their comments. I really do appreciate it. I really appreciate the fact that this was well viewed. I mean, at some point, you got almost 9 people viewing the stream. The fact there was 11 likes, it does warm my heart, and it does tell me that my material is actually worth something. Um, Now, I'm going to begin with closing remarks. So I'm going to begin with the one, the only, the future queen of Parkchester, Denise Gonzalez.
Oh my God. No, 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 no. No. No, mayor of Parkchester. No, but seriously, I would say that, I know we have had a lot of fun back and forth with the slow taps and the diverse taps and all the taps and all the mics, and you know uh and it's all fun and games, even though there's a lot of reality in the stuff we say about them. I am so sorry. um we're not 1,000% right, just like nobody is. But one thing I would say is that you have to start thinking about you if you love the country or the world the way it is. And it's time for us to start thinking a little bit, stop being so selfish, and start analyzing if we want a better world for future generations to live in. And what I mean by that is, like, it's time for us to check ourselves. The world doesn't owe anybody anything. They don't have to understand what you're going through. People don't have to understand anything about you. They don't have to feel for you in any way, simply because everybody's fighting a battle you don't know anything about. So that's the only way to keep the playing field fair. So I encourage, like, if you're part of this community, if you find yourself obsessing about things like race and gender and stuff, already you have one of the symptoms of this. And if you find yourself on top of that, spending more than 10 hours a week on social media, log out, log the hell out, and start self checking yourself, and start engaging in more social activities, because it's the only way that we can guarantee that human beings don't become obsolete and replace what with cyborgs, which is what we are today. And a lot of people came for me when I stated that we were becoming avatars. I think what 4 months ago. And I said to people, if you don't think you're an avatar, you think, that you're not funding all this AI advancement. You are, an extension of yourself that you have customized to your image and your likeness is your cell phone. Your cell phone might be the same one that a million people have out there, but it doesn't look the same because it's personalized to fit your persona. So you're already partially, you have AI as part of your persona today, which makes you a cyborg. And it's time for you to disconnect from that if you want to remain a Homo sapiens. It's just, logic. So, with that being said, become self aware of your own consumption of or overexposure to social media, and make a change within yourself. That's the best way and the best advice that I think I can leave people with today. And in all honesty, I think it's the only solution at this point. But with that being said, Jose, I want to thank you for allowing me to be on your platform, for allowing the people that are watching us to, give us their time, which is something they won't get back. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ramon, for not hearing me, but being patient enough to let me express myself. So that's all I want to say. Thank you so much, Jose. It's been a pleasure. Hope to be here for your next stream, and also hope you're on Saturday. All of you tune in for the next episode of Latin Explaining.
Well, I appreciate Jadis you getting being showing making your presence felt and sharing your wisdom. Actually, the topic for next week's stream will be um, the consequences of the COVID-19 mandates. So that's going to be a very interesting topic, but it is for people who have some brain cells that have not turned to mush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in the background. Please don't go anywhere. And Ramon, your final thoughts.
Yes. The first thing I appreciate, Don Jose, you allowing me on your stream. The other thing is that there may have been a couple of instances in which Denise was saying something and I started talking. I didn't know that she was talking because I can't hear her. So my bad, Denise. I didn't mean to interrupt. It's just that I can't hear you. So I didn't know that you were talking. Maybe you were saying something and I started talking. I couldn't hear you. I can't hear you right now because I'm talking to you guys using my phone and for some reason I can hear Jose, but I can't hear Denise. I don't know what happened there. So I'm gonna be stepping out now. Of course, you guys are gonna stay talking. So because of this problem, because I won't be able to hear Denise. So again, I wanted to say I appreciate you letting me on your panel. Denise, I'm gonna have to check the playback on another device because I know that you had a lot to say. So you give your little dissertations, and I'm saying that with love because you like to get your word out. So uh, on on that note, I guess not much else to say. Thanks, appreciate you letting me on, and I will see you on the next one. And you say something about the COVID mandates. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
hear
the
your thoughts about that.
consequences because the fact of the matter is, it for some people it's becoming a major crisis.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
no, there are whole protests and strikes and people going at each other because of that. Because there are people that they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it, and there are the other people that are saying that other folks that don't want to abide by the mandates are being selfish and things like that. So they're clashing now. There are two factions that are clashing because of it, and that's not only here in the state. That's in other parts of the world too.
yes, that's true. Well, thank you very much. If you can stay, I'm gonna put you in the background. If you have to go, you have to go. We'll see you next week. In
All
any
right.
so
Yes, definitely. We'll stay in touch and you guys have a good night.
okay, take care. Now I'm going to give you my final thoughts. Um, the fact of the matter is, the whole point of this stream is not to go into a personal attack regarding certain individuals on YouTube. It's the whole point is to give like a clinical analysis of what these people are, what makes them tick, and then if there's any way um, they may be motivated to help themselves. So that's the whole point. Again, I really thank everybody who entered their comments in the chat. I really appreciate the fact that 11 people actually liked the stream. And I also appreciate the fact that at one point there was many as 9 people viewing um, this stream. I think that's the most I've ever had. So I just want to encourage everyone, if you feel that my content is something that's positive, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit the like button and then hit the bell notification to all. So therefore you can be informed whenever I post any material. So again, the topic for next week will be the consequences of the COVID-19 mandates. So we're going to have a serious discussion. And of course, everybody is welcome to come on as long as it's respectful, or if you prefer to just enter your comments in the chat, that's fine. That being said, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. I thank you all very much. And I'm going to say have a blessed evening and peace.